I'm 63 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that's going to be uncomfortable. Everything you think you know about building wealth is probably wrong, not slightly off, completely wrong. And the worst part? The people who should have told you the truth, your parents, your teachers, your bank, they either didn't know themselves or they had no reason to tell you. I spent the first 40 years of my adult life making the same mistakes you're probably making right now. I had a decent job, a house, a savings account. I was doing fine. And fine, I learned the hard way, is the most dangerous word in personal finance. Because fine means you're not failing. But fine also means you're not building anything. And one morning, I was 45 years old, I sat down with a piece of paper and calculated exactly where I'd be at 65 if I kept doing what I was doing. The number I wrote down scared me more than anything I've ever seen in my life. At 45, I had been working for 22 years. 22 years of paychecks, raises, bonuses, a promotion or two. I had worked hard my entire adult life. My retirement account had $34,000, not $340,000, $34,000. I remember staring at that number. The coffee went cold on my desk. I just sat there thinking, where did it all go? The answer, when I finally forced myself to look, was everywhere and nowhere. Cars, vacations I barely remember. A house I upgraded when I didn't need to. Restaurants, subscriptions I forgot I had. Things I bought to feel like I was doing well. It didn't go to any one big thing. It went to 100 small decisions I made on autopilot. Every single month, for 2 decades. And here is what haunted me most. I wasn't broke. I was worse than broke. I was 45 years old, with 20 years left to work, and I had almost nothing to show for it. But for 2 full decades, I had believed I was doing okay. Here's the biggest financial lie most people tell themselves. I'm doing fine. Not I'm killing it, not I'm ahead, just an fine. That word is a sleeping pill. It keeps you comfortable enough to not change anything. Just uncomfortable enough to feel a little guilty, say, but never uncomfortable enough to actually move. I see people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, all saying the exact same thing. When I make more money, then I'll invest. When I pay off this car, then I'll start saving. When life settles down, then I'll figure out the money stuff. Let me save you 20 years of regret with one sentence. That moment never comes. Not because life doesn't settle down, because the goalposts keep moving. You pay off the car, and you buy a nicer one, you get the raise, and your lifestyle rises to meet it. You clear one debt, and new debt appears. It's not bad luck. It's not the economy. It's a trap that is specifically designed to feel like progress. I had a colleague, brilliant guy, made more money than me for most of his career. He retired at 68 with almost nothing liquid. His income, for 30 years, had quietly disappeared into a lifestyle that looked exactly like wealth. New car every 3 years, vacations on credit, a beautiful home with a mortgage that never seemed to shrink. At his retirement party, his wife leaned over and whispered to me, "We have no idea what we're going to do." He had looked successful his entire life. He had not built a single dollar of real financial independence. Sitting at that desk at 45, staring at $34,000, I made a decision. Not a resolution, not a vague goal, a decision. I was going to understand what I had done wrong, not what the market did, not what the economy did, what I did. And what I found was not complicated. It was just invisible, until I forced myself to look directly at it. First thing I found, compound interest works in both directions. Every dollar I spent on a car payment didn't just cost me that dollar. It cost me everything that dollar would have become. A $500 car payment every month for 10 years is not $60,000. At 10% annual return, invested instead, that's over $100,000. I made that choice 4 times in my life, each time believing I was just buying a car. I wasn't. I was choosing between a car and financial freedom. Nobody told me that at the dealership. Second thing I found, I had treated investing like a reward for good behavior. Once things settle down, I'll invest more. Once I earn more, I'll save more. That is completely backwards. Investing is not what you do with what's left. It is the first thing you do, before everything else. The people I eventually met who had built real wealth, not the people who looked wealthy, the people who actually were, they all did one thing exactly the same. They paid themselves first, automatically, before they could spend it, every single month, without exception. Not because they had more discipline than me, because they had removed discipline from the equation entirely. The money moved before they could make a decision about it. Third thing, and this is the one that cost me the most. In 2008, the market crashed, and I panicked. I watched my portfolio, which by then I had finally started building, lose 40% in 8 months. And I sold everything. Not because the companies were broken, not because I had done any analysis, because I was afraid. The S&P 500 recovered completely by 2013, then tripled from there by 2020. The people who sat still, who did nothing, who were boring, who looked away and trusted the math, they got all of that. I got the loss and missed the entire recovery. The stock market was never my biggest financial threat. I was. My fear. My impatience, my need to feel like I was doing something. If I could go back to 23, to that first paycheck, here is exactly what I would say. Automate a percentage of every paycheck before you see it. Even if it's 5%. Even if it feels like nothing. Because the habit matters more than the amount. And the amount will grow, but only if the habit comes first. Drive the used car. Not because you're poor, because the difference between a used car and a new one, invested every month for 20 years, is the retirement you deserve. The market will crash, probably more than once in your lifetime. When it does, do nothing. The most valuable investment move you can make during a market crash is absolute disciplined inaction. Stop trying to look wealthy. Start trying to become wealthy. They require opposite behaviors. And this one, the one I wish someone had told me at 23. Your savings rate is the only number that actually predicts your financial future. Not your income, not your investment picks, not your job title. The percentage of your income you keep and invest, that's it. That's the whole game. Raise that number by 10%, and you move your retirement date by nearly a decade. I didn't learn this until I was 45. You're learning it right now. I'm 63. My life is comfortable now. Not because I was brilliant, not because I got lucky, because at 45, I stopped pretending I was doing fine and started doing the actual work. The last 18 years compounded in a way the first 22 never did. Not because I found better investments, because I finally understood that the obstacle was never out there. It was always the same voice in my head saying, later. The same comfortable inertia of, fine. Here's what I want to ask you, and I want you to answer this honestly, just to yourself. If you calculated your actual savings rate right now, what you save each month divided by what you bring home, what number would appear? If that number is under 15%, you already know what to do. Not next year, not when life settles down, not after the next car is paid off. Now. Because the math doesn't care about your reasons. It only counts the years. And you have exactly as many of those left as you have. Subscribe, because next time, you're going to want to open your account statement